All right, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? It looks like we have a good group here. So my name is Katie Russo. I'm the Assistant Director of Intercultural Programs here at UT Dallas. I say here, actually I'm in my home, but here at UT Dallas. And welcome to our day 2 of International Week. We have a very special event today, our Indian Language and Culture Workshop. So I know this was a workshop that was actually requested by some of our faculty and staff members last semester, because we have so many students from India here at UT Dallas. And so getting to know the culture of India is very important. And so it's such a wonderful culture, and I know that we would love to know more about it. And so we contacted an expert, and so she is here to present with us today. And so today we have Vandana, and I'm sure she will teach me how to pronounce her name more completely in her talk, Rajpurohit. And she is a Texas State certified Hindi teacher with over 15 years of experience in teaching Hindi at high schools and during Star Talk programs, which I actually had to look up, but it is foreign language programs. And so she clearly has a passion for language teaching, and she's served in leadership positions such as the director of the Star Talk and lead language instructor and instructional coach. And so she has so much experience working with students of all different age groups and proficiency levels and cultural backgrounds. So she's really been recognized for her mentorship, her passion for Hindi, and serving in the community. She has a master's degree in educational administration and a bachelor's degree in science, and she lives in Fort Worth with her family. And so I believe she also has a connection to UTD, right, Vandana? Yes, so she told me her son goes to UT Dallas, so she is part of the Comet family, but she is going to present to us today all about pronouncing names in Hindi and all about Indian language and culture. So welcome, Vandana.
Thank you, Katie, for the introduction, and I'm very delighted today. Thank you for inviting me. And today I'll start this session with Indian greeting, which is called Namaste. Namaste. It's saying hello from my heart to your heart. I'm glad that through this session, I'm hopeful that it will be helpful for the people who are really interested in pronouncing the names correctly. I think all of us, our names are connected with our identity, and if we pronounce the name correctly, it just you feel good about who you are. So let's start the session, how to pronounce Indian names. And in Hindi, how do you say that? How to pronounce Indian names? So this is how I'll spell it out in Hindi. Bharatiya Namo Ka Uchcharan. Uchcharan means pronunciation. And in simple way, how do you say this in Hindi? Or how do you say someone's name in Hindi? हिंदी में नाम कैसे बोलते हैं? Okay, and this is transliteration. Just it makes it easy for somebody who doesn't know the alphabet, Hindi script. Then this is a transliteration of that. So you see on the screen there are a lot of names, but let me first start with my name. Next slide. So my name is Vandana Rajpurohit. Every Indian name, it has a meaning, and my name also has a meaning, and it means prayer. So how do you say? Because if most of my life, who are not native speakers of Hindi, and they are not aware of the script, Hindi script, they'll pronounce my name as Vandana. And I don't blame them, because this is how they have learned English alphabets and English vowels, consonants. So Hindi is, little bit different. And once you will go through this process, and I'll give you explanation about how and what is the combination of the letters, I hope that this will help you to pronounce the names. So if I have to introduce myself in Hindi, this is how I will say. Mera naam, and then the dash is Vandana hai. मेरा नाम वंदना है, मैं हिंदी भाषा शिक्षिका हूँ, मैं डैलस टेक्सास में रहती हूँ. This means my name is Vandana Rajpurohit and I'm a Hindi language teacher and I live in Dallas, Texas. So this is my name and I'll show you how I have broken it down into syllables. So the first one, V-A-N, okay. So the A letter, it is pronounced as A. So when you say V-A-N, it is pronounced as one. One. D-A is pronounced as the. So one, the. And the last name, when it has A behind it, that means the sound is long vowel. So you say na. Okay. So how do you pronounce my name? Van, the, na. Vandana. Vandana. And my last name, again, I have broken down into syllables. So Raj, Pu, Ro, Hit. Raj, Pu, Ro, Hit. So Raj is the same, it's pronounced the same. U is pronounced as O, Poo. Okay, so Raj, Poo, R-O, so it's like row, like that, row, and then hit. So Raj, Poo, Ro, Hit. So this is my first name, Vandana Raj Purohit. Next slide, please. So how can you connect with your students? The first thing, pronounce their name correctly. And most of the Indian names, they'll have their first name and last name or first name and surname. But because India is so diverse, there are so many languages spoken in India, you'll see that students will have first name, middle name, last name. They'll have some more initials. They'll have acronym of certain letters. So you'll get to see all that with students who study at UTD. These are some of the common greetings and phrases which you can use when you greet your students. So the most common greeting is Namaste, and Namaste you use it both for hello and goodbye. Swagat, Swagat means welcome. And Shukriya means thank you. This is the easiest one. Yes, ha. And you see a lot of students just nodding like this. So that also means yes. So ha means yes. Nahi means no. Nahi and ha. And if you have maaf kijiye, when this in colloquial language or generally people don't say maaf kijiye, like how in English we say sorry all the time. It's just the gesture, maaf kijiye, but the translation of sorry is maaf kijiye. Next slide, please. Okay, so today's agenda is we'll learn about influence of Indian languages, religion, and caste on Indian nomenclature, identification of some common names and their origin, Hindi alphabets, description and pronunciation, practice some famous Indian names, food items and clothes, and the last section will be our QA section. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is a question from me to you. Do you know how many languages are spoken in India? And you can put your answers in the chat box. Don't look at the slide. Okay, so let me tell you. Yes, you're correct. So there are officially 22 languages, but there are more than that. There are so many dialects, more than 19,000 dialects. And in India, every 10,000 kilometers, you'll see the difference in the dialect language. So the green section here, which you see, this is called Hindi belt. Okay, and this is the region where Hindi is spoken. Along with Hindi, there are other state languages and the southern part of India. So basically, the highlighted section, it demonstrates which language families it belongs to. So for example, this green section, it shows Indo-Aryan languages. Basically Hindi is derived, and Hindi and other languages close to Hindi, they are Indo-Aryan languages. And the southern part of India, these are Dravidian languages. So there are 22 official languages, and along with English, English is also considered as a provisional official language in India. And these languages are Bengali, Hindi, Maithili, Nepalese, Sanskrit, Tamil, Urdu, Assamese, Dogri, Kannada, Gujarati, Bodo, Manipur is also called Methi, Oriya, Marathi, Santali, Telugu, Punjabi, Sindhi, Malayalam, Konkani, and Kashmiri. And all these languages, they are at the state and central level. So you can't say there is a national language, but for central government of India and other official documentation, Hindi is considered the main language. It's an official language for central government. And also along with Hindi, there is English, which is also considered as a sub-language. And individual state legislatures can adopt any regional language as their official language of that state. So there are many languages. So there are 28 states. 22 languages are recognized, and the other states, the languages there are considered a dialect of Hindi. So, for example, the state here in this region, it's Rajasthan, and there is a language in Rajasthan where I'm from, and it's Marwadi. But because it has similar script as Hindi, so Marwadi is not considered as a language. It is a dialect of Hindi. Hindi is an official language of Uttar Pradesh. So Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh. So all these states, they have their state language. Then there is Hindi, English, and then the fourth language. So in schools and colleges, the first language is their state language, then Hindi, English, and then if the students want to learn any other language, then they are more than welcome to learn the fourth language. Tamil is the official language of Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, and Andaman Nicobar. There are two classical languages, officially classical languages, and they are Tamil and Sanskrit. So Hindi is derived from Sanskrit. Next slide, please. Okay. So as I had mentioned, that India is diverse. There are so many languages, and along with languages, there is a lot of diversity in the clothes people wear, in the food people eat. So there is diversity. There is a cultural difference in the food people consume, the clothes, the attire people wear, and also their last names and first names. Next slide, please. Okay. So origin of Indian names. Okay, so India is a multicultural, multi-religious country. So these are various religions, and a lot of Indian names, they come from these religions. There are certain parts of India, such as Goa and Kerala, and in those states you'll find a lot of Christian names. So for example, here you see George Fernandez, he's a politician, and that's a Christian name. Muslim names, they are derived from Arabic and Persian. So here you see Sania Mirza. She's a tennis player. She's a very renowned tennis player in India. And her name is a religious, derived from Muslim religion. Then there's another name called Shakuntala Devi. Shakuntala Devi, she's no more with us, but she was a renowned mathematician, numerologist, and astrologist. And her name, Shakuntala, is derived from Sanskrit. Then there is another religion in India, it's called Sikh or Sikhism. And the names in Sikhism or Sikh religion, they come from Sanskrit, Persian, and Arabic. So here is a very famous athlete. His name is Milkha Singh. Milkha Singh. Then Jainism. This is another religion. It came out from Hinduism, but the name which is derived in Jain religion, they are mostly from Sanskrit. So for example, Ravi Jain, he's a very famous musician, and his name is derived from Sanskrit. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are names which are religious. There are names which are based on culture. So India has different states, 28 states, and every state has its own culture. They have their own food, they have their own clothes, folk dances, folk music, classical form of art, dance, art. It's different in all these states. So there will be some similarity, but they have their own culture. So for example, this is the name based on culture. So for example, Kashmiri. So this is the region Kashmir. Here you'll find people having name distribution as like this. So first name, middle name, and family name. So first name is, okay, so this is Jawahar is the first name, Lal is the middle name, and Nehru is the family name. And Jawaharlal Nehru, he was the first Prime Minister of India. Middle name is optional in Kashmir, but this is how the name distribution is. Then second culture, Bengali. Bengali culture, it's right here. West Bengal, it's in the east. It is situated in the east of India. And this is how the name is distributed, like first name, middle name, and surname. So, for example, this one is Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose, and I put it in a bracket. So Bose is a caste. So there are a lot of names which are based on culture as well as caste. So Bose is a Kayast caste. So that is why this is Bose. Then Gujarati. Gujarati is right here. It is in western part of India. And Gujarati, they'll have their first name, father's first name, and last name. So for example, India's Prime Minister, his name is Narendra Damodar Das Modi. And I have put it in inverted commas because Modi, again, it's based on caste. So that's a caste which is called Teli, and that's how the name distribution is. So you have first name, father's name. So Damodar Das is his father's name, and then Modi. Then Kannada. So if you go here in Karnataka, we speak Kannada, and it's very different when you look at the name distribution. Look here. they have their village name first. So the origin of that person, then their father's name, and then their personal name. So it's so different because usually here, like you'll have first name and last name. And here the last name is not your last name. The last name is your first name. So here's one example. H.D. Kumaraswamy. So H is the village name. Like it's just the first letter of their village name. D is the father's name. And Kumaraswamy is the personal name. So it's not the last name. So in southern part of India, in many states in southern part of India, you will see that the first name is the village name, then father's name, and then their first name, their personal name. Then this is Punjabi culture. Punjab is in the northern part of India, right here. And they have their first name, then religious name, and then family name. So for example, the religious name for both boy and girl is different. For a girl, it's called Kaur, and Kaur means princess. And for a boy, it is Singh. Singh means warrior or a lion. So first name, religious name, and family name. And this is a girl name because it has a Kaur. So all Punjabi girls, the girls from Punjab, if they'll have Kaur in the middle. So it's very easy to identify that, okay, if the name has Kaur in it, that means it's a girl's name. And if it has a Singh in it, that means it's a boy's name. Then Tamil. So this is Tamil Nadu, southern part of India. The language spoken in this state is Tamil. And here also, they'll have village name, father's name, first name, and caste name. And different in Tamil Nadu also, they'll have some changes in the structure, how the names are given. So many names might not have village name. So you'll just have like your father's name and first name. That's it. Or they might not include caste name. Next slide, please. Okay. So some examples of last names based on caste or professions. So as you all know, that caste system was initially very prevalent in India, and there are last names which are based on the caste. And it's a very complex social system. Indian caste system is a very complex social system. And this was a form of social stratification in people. They were grouped based on their occupation, and the surname, whatever surname they had, it was passed on from one generation to another generation. And that's how the last name stayed the same from generations to generations. So the first, and this is how the stratification was done. So first one was Brahmin. And Brahmin, it included Hindu priests, advisors, and intellectual leaders. And they had specific last names because it was based on, what kind of work they did. So Brahmins were considered the first tier, highest rank of the four Varnas or traditional social classes of India. Then the second one is Kshatriya. So here K is silent. Kshatriya. They were rulers, military leaders, warriors, landowners, and this was the second highest of the Varnas, and the last names were based on what kind of work they did. The third category was Vaishya, and this is the third highest of the caste system, and there were merchants, traders, and farmers in this category. Number 4 is Shudra. So Shudra, they were the lowest ranked Varnas, and traditionally they included artisans, laborers, and servants. And the last one, which were formerly called untouchables, Now, Indian Constitution has outlawed the practice of untouchability. So you cannot say untouchable. So it doesn't have, even though it was prevalent in the past, but now it has been outlawed. And these are some of the last names which are based on the caste. For example, Mukherjee, Pandit. So these are like Brahmin last surnames, and they are in eastern part of India. And so these are based on the last names. People were able to identify which part of India they are from, or what kind of work their ancestors did. No matter now what kind of profession you are doing, but since you have the last name, people still identify you through your caste. Next slide, please. Okay, so here are some very common last names in Indian states. So for example, in Kashmir, here is Jammu and Kashmir. So in this region, these are the last names, common last names: Bhatt, Pandit, Rajdan, Kaul, Munshi, Gul. So these are very common names here. So if somebody is from Jammu and Kashmir, and if you are aware of these last names, then people can easily recognize that somebody is from Kashmir because through their last names. In Gujarat, so this is Gujarat. In Gujarat, these are the last names: Modi. These are some of them, and there are a lot. Modi, Patel, Shah, Desai, Ambani, Jain. So these are the names, last names from Gujarat. Then in Rajasthan, this is Rajasthan: Agarwal, Agarwal, Jain, Sharma, Bhati, Rajput, Rajpurohit, Chaudhary. So these are some names which are from Rajasthan. Then Punjab. It's called Punjab, not Punjab. Punjab. So U sounds as a. Punjab. Singh. So as I mentioned earlier, Singh, usually it's a middle name for boys. Kaur, it's a middle name for girls. Kapoor, last name. Arora, Bakshi, Bhatt. So you'll find a lot of names which just have, for example, there is Ranjita, then a girl can have just Ranjita Kaur, and she might not have any last name. So this becomes their last name. Same with a boy's name. It is Ravinder Singh. So if they have like last name as Singh, they might not have the following surname. So these are the names from Punjab. Then Tamil Nadu. So here is Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, these are the most common names, last names: Reddy, Ramakrishnan, Balakrishnan, Iyer, and Rai. Then West Bengal, this is West Bengal. In West Bengal, these are the few common names: Das, Chakraborty, Sanyal, Banerjee, Basu, Mukherjee. Then Andhra Pradesh, this is Andhra Pradesh. Last names: Naidu, Reddy, Yadava, Mutrasi, Velama. Then this is Assam. In Assam, this is Assam: Acharya, Barua, Goswami, Datta. Very common names in Assam. In Maharashtra, where Mumbai is there, Maharashtra. So these are the common names: Apte, Kulkarni, Peshkar, Javade, Wagmare, Deshmukh, Deshpande. And then in northern part of India, so this is all northern part of India, these are few common names: Dalal, Diwan, Jha, Verma, Verma. So there are two names: Verma, Gupta, Tripathi, Srivastava, Pandey, Sharma, Garg, Dubey, Goyal, etc. Next slide, please. Okay, so here are, this is the Indian alphabet chart, and there are vowels. So there are 13 vowels, and consonants. So there are 33 consonants up to here. And there are conjuncts. So that's why when I said K is silent, these are conjuncts. It's called ksha, tra, gya. So this is how they are pronounced. And there are a few borrowed letters from Persian language, Urdu and Arabic. And this is called kh, z, f, r, r. So these are borrowed letters. In Hindi, these vowels are long vowels and short vowels, and I'll explain them in details. But Indian names have no silent letters, and this is how Hindi is written. So this is Hindi, Hindi. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do you pronounce the vowels? So there are 13 vowels. Let's see if you, I'll just explain it to you, and we'll try some once we'll understand how to pronounce them. Then later on, you can work with me to pronounce certain names. So the first sound, in English, as in alarm. So it's like It's a short vowel, and this is ah, long vowel, ah. So as in artist, as in alarm, as in artist, I as in it, e as in feet, u, short vowel, u, as in put, u, and this is oo, as in spoon. This is called ri, as in riddle. A as in, so this is not A, this is A and E, as in paper, A, like that you say, A, okay. Then I, so I, I as in crane, O as in orange, ow as in owl. And this is called as in umbrella, It's very rarely used in English. And is a sound, is a letter which is derived from Sanskrit. So and they are taken from Sanskrit as such. So very few names have these, you'll find very few words with this character, with this letter. Most of them, they are in combination with the consonants, and this is how the sound, the sound changes. So is an inherent character or a letter. Stays when you combine with a consonant, it changes, and I'll show you how. Next slide, please. Okay, let's see. So there are some common first names beginning with vowels. So these are the common vowels. I have omitted the ones which are not frequently used, or there are hardly any names using those vowels. So the first one is, does anybody wants to try this? I'll tell you how it is, how the sound is, and then you try to pronounce the name, okay? This is okay? So the first name, anu. So because it has a similar sound as usher, alarm, amigo, like that. So any volunteers would like to try the first line?
well.
Okay. Thank you, Tamara.
Sure. I will give it a try. Okay. So the first name was Anu. Then the next one is Akshay.
Sure. Yes, excellent.
Anubha.
Anubha.
Apurva.
Apurva, that's correct.
Arun.
Arun.
Aditi.
Aditi, that's correct. Yes, Aditi.
Alka.
Alka.
Oh, I'm not sure about this one.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
It's Arpita. Arpita.
Arpita.
Arpita.
Arpita. Okay.
Arpita.
Ooh. Abhijit.
That's correct. Abhijit.
Abhimanyu.
Excellent. Abhimanyu. Because see, you have to remember, you don't say Abhimanyu. No, Abhimanyu. Because A is like A. That you have to remember, pronouncing when you're pronouncing Hindi names. It's Abhimanyu. Yes.
Abhimanyu. Anya.
Ananya.
Oh. Ananya.
Ananya. Yes.
Ananya. Yeah. Ajay.
Ajay.
Anisha.
Anisha.
Arjun.
Arjun. Perfect. Yeah, there you go. High five. You did great. Okay, so this is there are, and you'll see them. There are some hard vowel sound also, like I, O, ow, like that. It's there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the second one is ah. Okay, ah. This is how it sounds. Ah, like bazaar, far, car, father. So ah sound. Okay. Anybody wants to try this? Okay.
I think I can do this one.
Okay, try. It's okay. I'm here, so if you mispronounce it, I'll always help you.
Okay, so Akash.
Akash, yes.
Arti.
Aarti, yes.
Oh, Adarsh.
Adarsh, because you have to say ah, that sound ah. Adarsh.
Adarsh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Alap.
Alap.
Arya.
Arya, yes.
Asha.
Asha.
Ashish.
Ashish. And this is really confusing, and I really want to share this with you. So if you have any students and who have this name, for example, I wrote this transliteration form of this name, and same with Arya, and same with Asha. Asha is Asha. I've put transliteration for that because when Hindi names were translated into English, yeah, when they were translated into English, they weren't translated using the exact transliteration. So it's very confusing for somebody, because if you see only A and S, H and A, you'll just say Asha because there are no two A's, right? How you have it here, the pronunciation part. Or same with bazaar, you don't have it. So it's confusing. So my suggestion would be, like if you hear your student's name and if they say Asha, you just put a long vowel sound on top of that A. So next time when you pronounce it, it will help you to identify that letter. Same with Adarsh. Adarsh also doesn't have like two A's in front. So it's difficult to know whether it's A or A. So same thing, put a long vowel line on top of it, so you'll know that this is pronounced A, pronounces A. The next vowel is E, as in ink, India, Illinois. So E, let me try this, and then I'll ask for volunteers, okay? E, this is Izaz, Izaz, not jazz, Izaz. Ilu, Imran, Ishita, Indu, Indira, Ishan, Indarjeet, Ishdeep, Hiral, Meera, Mishti, Meena, Naveen, Praveen, Krishna, Ravi. So this is short I, E, and this is long E, as in feet, greet. So for long sound, you'll say here in this most of them it has long like E, then you'll find two letters, two E's, and that's how you'll know that. But there are certain names which do not have like two E's, but they are still pronounced as E. For example, this letter, this name, Neelu. Okay, some people write it as Neelu, and some people just write Nilu, and still they are pronounced the same. So this is long E. Anybody wants to try? Okay, here you go. Meera, try.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this. So, Ishwar,
Uh-huh.
Ira,
Yes.
Mira,
Uh-huh.
Naveen,
Correct.
Parveen,
Parveen,
Pradeep,
Pradeep,
Harpreet,
Harpreet,
Neelu,
Nishu,
Karina,
Karina,
and Surjit.
Surjit. Perfect. Yay. Okay. All right. So this is so A, E, E. Then you have U, short U. Let's try. So U as in push, pump, unit. And let's see, do we have any volunteers? These are just few names. Let's try.
I'll try. It's kind of where I'm at though. So, which one are you doing? The piece?
The piece, yes.
Oh, shit. Pushpa?
Pushpa, that's correct.
Pushpa?
Pushkar.
Shruti?
Shruti, yes.
Kruti?
Kruti.
Krupa?
Krupa.
Krupa, okay. This one. Vrushali?
Vrushali.
Okay. And Rudaya?
Rudaya. Perfect. Yay. Bravo. You did good. Okay. So U sound. All right. So this is U, short U. Then you have long U. Okay. So U as in boom, balloon, spoon. Okay. So I'll do this. Okay. So you say U mesh. So U is how do you pronounce U? It's U. Okay. So Umesh, Urmila, Usha, Udveg, Upendra, Suraj, Anuj, Anusha, Ujjwal, Suraj. Suraj, you'll see the name written as this also, Suraj. Okay, so you can find some names spelled as Sooraj, and some of them they are spelled like this, Suraj. Okay, the next one is A. So A as in break, bet, jet, like that. So how will you say? Any volunteer? Anybody wants to try? How many names we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Anybody wants to try just 2 of them? First 2. Let's see who wants to take this challenge. Okay, here you go.
I will try.
Okay.
Ekta.
That's correct. Perfect. Ekta.
Prema.
Prema. You did good. Perfect. Prema.
Reshma.
Reshma.
Chetan.
Chetan. Chetan.
Chetan.
Tan. Remember that this A is sound as A. Chetan.
Chetan. Meher.
Meher.
Harnik.
Perfect. Awesome. Yay. You did good. Okay. So the next one is I. I as in I. So somebody was asking me, do you have any hard vowels? Yes, I. So like Idaho, I, die. Okay. And this is a little bit challenging. If you haven't heard these names, like Shailesh, Naina, Laila. Laila is common. I think Laila, we hear this name here also, and also in Arabic country. So Laila, then this is Suraya, and then Maithili. So Maithili, Suraya, Laila, Naina, Shailesh. Then there is O. It's as an orange or origin. This is the simplest one, I think. Do we have any volunteers for this one? I need to pick someone who did not try. Don't want to scare you. It's okay. If you want to try, that's good. If not, then I'll go ahead and do it. Okay. All right, Mira, try.
How is the J pronounced again?
Which one?
Just the letter J. Is it Ojas?
Ojas.
Oh, okay. Ojas.
Ojas, huh?
Omkar.
Omkar.
Omar. Ompuri. Komal.
Komal.
Komal. And Sonal.
Perfect. Yes. And the last vowel is ow. And this ow sound is very common in West Bengal. Like these names are very common in that region. So if somebody comes from that region, and if somebody is really very much aware of the names in India, then they can identify that these are the names from West Bengal. Like so ow as in owl, about, office. So Maushumi, Kaustubh, Saumak, and Saumya. So these are the names mostly from that region. Next slide, please. Okay. So let's see. This is a general knowledge question, or let me see who can answer this. So do you know about naming ceremony in India? Anybody knows about naming ceremony? Okay, Tamara, please share.
Oh, Well, so I have seen videos of naming ceremonies, of Indian naming ceremonies, and the videos that I watched didn't really go in depth. It just kind of showed off, what it looks like, the attire people wear, the food that they would have. The ones I've seen are kind of like big parties where a lot of people, I guess family members, attend. And I also did some research on an event I did about naming ceremonies around the world. And so I learned a little bit about nakshatras and
Okay.
different names and how, like, when a child is born and whatever nakshatra they're born into can influence the name that they get. So that's kind of what I know.
Okay, that's plenty of information. Thank you for sharing, Tamara. In India, different parts of India, based on their culture and family traditions, different people have different rituals for naming ceremony. And generally, the ceremony is usually held after the 11th day of the child's birth. Okay, so 12th day, maybe. The region where I come from, so it's Rajasthan. So 7th day, they do some kind of puja, prayers. And it's like a ceremony where only females are invited. And the child, they do some kind of naming ceremony on that day. In some parts of India, they do it on the 21st day after the child is born. And the naming ceremony is called Namkaran. Namkaran. Nam means name. In Hindi, Nam means name. And the Namkaran ceremony. And this is a ceremony in southern part of India. You can see a lot of flowers, garland used in the naming ceremony. And we see both parents sitting here and they are doing some kind of ritual. And you see grandmother and grandparents and other family members. So usually during the naming ceremony, family members are invited and close friends and relatives are invited. And it takes some time to, for the ceremony to be conducted. And let's see. And some parts of India, for example, if you go to in southern part of India, Kerala, they have this naming ceremony on 28th day after the child is born. And there is a special name for that. It is called Nulukettu. That's the name of the ceremony. So there are different names for those ceremonies also, even though it's like a naming ceremony after the child's birth. But, because there are so many languages and so many traditions, so people will have individual specific name for that ceremony. When they do naming ceremony, usually the horoscope, they'll follow the horoscope and based on certain characters, and I'll share that with you, how there are certain letters in that horoscope and how people name their children based on that. It is not the same all over India. They are region specific, culture specific, but this is just a general information. Next slide, please. Okay, so here, how do people select their child's name? So as Tamara shared that, they look into horoscope and astrology, and there are many ways, people name their children. And this, the first letter of a child is considered very, very auspicious, and it is based on the horoscope. Okay, and so there are 5 different categories how the child's name is kept. Hindu families, they rely on Vedic astrology to name their child. So first one is Janam Nakshatram. Okay, and so usually it is composed of child's birth star. So basically an astrologist, they'll create a horoscope for the child and they'll demonstrate that when the child was born, where the star was and where was the position of the planets. So a lot of in-depth information in that horoscope. Date of birth, time of birth, and moon sign, everything is included in that. So this is Janam Nakshatram. Then according to the child's month of birth. It is called Masanam. So which mass? Mass means month. So in which month the child is born. So the name is based on that. So that's the first letter should start from that. So that name should have that particular letter, beginning letter. Then Devatma, Devatnama, after the family's deity. So so depending on the family's beliefs, they have their deities. Some of them they have gods, goddesses. So based on that, they keep the names of their children, whether it's a boy or a girl. Then Rashi Nama. Rashi Nama means zodiac sign. And it's similar to English zodiac sign, 12 months, 12 signs. And then Samskari Nama, that means worldly name. So it can be an exception to all the above. So some of them, they keep their name Dunya. Dunya itself means world. Okay, so this is how people name their children. And like, here you see the horoscope. So for example, let me show you. This is the last one. It's called Meen. Meen means Pisces. So somebody who's a Piscean, who's born in March, their first name should start from D, Th, Jh, Ch, Cha, Chi. So in Hindu families, the astrologer will look into the horoscope, and then also what time they were born and in which month they are born, and that's how they will give a couple of letters to the parents, and they'll say these are the letters for your child, and now you can name your child. So then when parents find out the names, they look for the names that start from these letters. So this is a very interesting concept. Next slide, please. Okay, so how many letters should be there in a name? Okay, so as I mentioned, India is very diverse. It is multicultural. So different people, they follow different naming structure and letters when they name their children. So for example, in some parts of India, they consider that a boy's name is good if it has even numbers or even letters. Okay, so for example, if there is a name called Jay, so Jay, it has 2 letters, it's a boy's name. And so that is considered very auspicious. So in certain cultures, a boy's name which has even number of letters is considered very auspicious. For the girl, they say that if the girl's name has some odd letters, then it is considered very auspicious. And it is region specific and culture specific. A lot of people, they keep their children's name based on Hindu mythological characters, epic such as Ramayana and Mahabharata. And the names are generally the ones who are brave and courageous and those kind of historical characters. Then gods and goddesses. So if the family worships a particular goddess, they follow certain idols, then that's the name they'll keep. Girl names are also based on names of the rivers. For example, Ganga, in English they call Ganges. So Ganga is a very common name, is the river Ganges. And flowers, so names of flowers, and I think here also there are names based on flowers like rose and lotus and lily, very common name. So in India also, girls' names they are similar to here. Then moon, so moon, sun, precious metals. So for example, if you hear the name Sona, Sona means gold. So people also keep their children's name as metals. Then virtues and music also based on music. So music as such as a vocabulary, they'll keep their child's name as music. So music in Hindi is Sangeet. So a lot of people, they keep their boy's name as Sangeet. Okay, and in some parts of India, they say that for both genders, 11, if a name consists of 11 letters, so both first name and last name, if it has 11 letters, then it is considered very auspicious. So the word auspicious is very auspicious in India. Everything should be auspicious. The naming ceremony, they look into the numbers, they look into the horoscope and stars and everything, and they look at the time, auspicious time, and then that's when the naming ceremony is done. Next slide. Okay. So we already discussed about Hindi vowels and how they combine with consonants. And when they combine with consonants, there is a matra which is added to it. Okay, so when consonants change their sound, there is a matra added to it, and that matra is a vowel matra. Okay, so the matra, so for example, here, is in its independent form, right? And there is no matra to it because a vowel But this when it combines with sa, it still sounds the same. Sa. There is no matra to it. So is the vowel. It is in its inherent form. It does not change the consonant at all. But the next one, has a matra form. Okay, so as such can be written, but if you have to change the sound of the consonant, then you have to add the sound. And this is a line. So when you put this line after this letter sa, it becomes sa. Sa. So this is sa, this is sa. It's a combination of vowel and consonant. So sa is a consonant. Then there is, when you combine e to a consonant sa, okay, this is the matra. This is the matra it gets. So you write sa and then you put a matra and then it sounds as si. Si as in sin. Then this is long e. Long e has a matra. When you combine it with a consonant, this is long e. Okay. So this is the letter sa. And then when you add the matra, the vowel matra, it becomes si. Si as in seen. Okay, si. Okay. Next one, u. This is the independent form of the vowel, but when you combine with a consonant, this is how it is, how the matra is put under the consonant. So for example, this is sa, and you put this little u matra, it becomes su. This is long u, food. Okay, and the long u has this symbol. So all these vowels, when they combine with these consonants, they have these symbols, and these symbols are called matras. And when these matras get attached to it, it changes the sound of the consonant. And I'll pronounce it for you how it sounds. Okay, u. This is the u matra. Then you add it under it, and it becomes su. So sa becomes su because sa plus u. This is u. So sa plus u becomes su. This is a. Okay, a. So sa plus a. When you combine it, it becomes say. Sa plus a, say. This is I. I has two matras. So the consonant sa, when you add two matras on it, so sa plus I, sai, sai. This is o. When you combine o to sa, so this is the matra for o. So sa, and then this is the line. So it becomes sa plus o, so, like that. Then ow has one line and two matras. So this is sa, one line and two matras. This is one stick and two matras. And this is called saw. So this is how the sounds change when consonants, they combine with the vowels. So sa stays sa because doesn't have any matra. but the rest of the vowels have these matras. These are symbols which are attached to these consonants, and this is how the pronunciation of consonant changes. So for example, how will you say this? So this is letter S. Okay, so you say S, Sa, Si, Si, Su, Su, Se, Sai, So, Sa. And when you are looking at these letters and characters, what do you see? That all these letters, they look as hanging, they are hanging letters. And it's very interesting because all Hindi letters are hanging letters. When you see them, it's like a row, like a top line, and then all the letters are hanging from it. And if you don't put that line on it, then it doesn't mean anything. So you have to put a line when you're writing Hindi characters. There's another language which is Gujarati in India, and they have similar letters, but then they don't put line on top. So this is how somebody can differentiate between Hindi and Gujarati, that Gujarati doesn't have a line on it. Okay, so vowels, and when they are joined with consonants, how they change the sound and how you can pronounce them. Next slide, please. Okay, so we discussed about vowels, and now we'll talk about consonants. So in Hindi, there are 33 consonants, and depending on where you place your tongue when you are pronouncing them, and this is how the sound will come out. There are aspirated and non-aspirated sounds. Aspirated is when you take the air out of your mouth. Non-aspirated is when it's just inside your mouth. So you don't blow air, or you don't feel that you're exerting pressure when you're speaking that sound or word. So first one is vela. It's pronounced at the back of the mouth. So basically your tongue, it touches here, like it's very clear. So the first one, it's pronounced as k, k, and I have some names under it which you can pronounce. So k, k, l, yan, kalyan, kalyan. This is a name of a boy, Kalyan. So first letter consonant is k. The second one, it is k, k. And when you hear me, you see the air is coming out of my mouth. K. So k, k, k is khushbu. This is how it is pronounced because it's k, khushbu. Third is g, g, g as in Gajendra, Gajendra. This is aspirated again. It's how to pronounce it? G, G, Ghanshyam, Ghanshyam. And this is nasalized. So all the last line of the consonants, they are nasalized. So this is Anga. And depending on how you use it, these are usually used as conjuncts. Then the next one is palatal, and it is pronounced at the top of the mouth. So when you touch your tongue on the roof of your palate. So try, if anybody wants to try this. So the first one is like chair, ch. Okay, first one is first consonant, the second line, palatal, it's called ch. And ch is pronounced as chirag, chirag, ch. Okay. Second one is ch, ch. So that you are blowing out air out of your mouth, and it is called ch. So ch, chaya, chaya. Then this is j as in jungle, j. So कैसे pronounce करोगे? Any name? How will you pronounce them? Janvi. Janvi. This is how you'll pronounce. Janvi. So this is a girl's name. Chaya, Janvi. These are girls. Girl name. Then the next one is Jha. Jha. Again, it's an aspirated. You blow air out of your mouth. And this is Mojhe. Mojhe. Okay, and this is Nya. Third one is retroflex. And how do you pronounce it? You roll your tongue. You curl your tongue back against the roof of your mouth. Like tomato, ta, ta. So, ta as in tomato, ta. There is a name. It's called todermal. 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 So, ta, tha. It's an aspirated. You can hear my sound. Tha, thakur. Thakur. Da, as in dabar limbu. Dha, dhagal singh. Dhagal singh. And this is na. So, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Next slide, please. The fourth category is dental. So basically in this, you touch your tongue behind your teeth, upper teeth. So it's like ta, ta. So ta, tarun, tarun. Ta, tha. Tha is again aspirated. Tha as in thanedar. Thanedar. Tha. This is the as in dalpat. Dalpat. Dha. Again it's aspirated. Dha as in Dhiru Bhai. Dhiru Bhai. Dhiru Bhai. This is na. Nay na. Nay na. Na. So let's listen to this sound. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Next one is labial. So the sound is made by using both your upper and lower lips. Okay, so like pa, pa, like that. So the first one is pa, pa, pa. Okay, it's also, you can also pronounce. You'll hear a lot of people, they pronounce it as fa. So it's fa and pa. Okay. So pa as in Parneet, pa or fa as in Fauziya, yeah, Fauziya. Ba as in Balvinder, Balvinder. Next one is bha as in Bhavani, Bhavani. Then ma as in Manisha. The next category is semi-vowels. Okay, it's similar to the vowels in English and like ear, y. So how do these letters sound? So the first one is ya. Ya, Yashodha, Yashodha. R as in Rajnikant, Rajnikant. L as in Lakshman Singh, Lakshman Singh. V as in Varun, Varun. Next slide, please. Next one is sibilant. It's pronounced with a hissing sound. So for example, sh, s, sh, like that. Next category is glottal, glottal, or basically this is only one. And how do you pronounce it? It's her. And somebody really pronounced it correctly. It's called hridaya. And most of all the Indian names, they have some meaning. So hridaya means heart. Hridaya means heart. And then there are conjuncts like ksha, tra, gya, shra. So kshatriya, trishna, Gyaneshwar, Shravan. Next slide, please. Okay, these are some famous Indian names. Who can try? Let's see. Any volunteers? Okay, Tamara.
I'm not sure how well I do, but I'm going to try. Okay. Okay, the first name is Kamala Harris.
That's correct. Kamala Harris, because that's a sound, right? Kamala Harris, huh?
Kamala Harris. Narendra Modi.
That's correct.
Ooh, Amitabh Bachchan.
Perfect. Amitabh Bachchan. That's perfect.
Amitabh Bachchan. Manmohan Singh.
That's correct. Perfect. That's perfect. Yes. So Kamala Harris, Narendra Modi, Amitabh Bachchan, and Manmohan Singh. So these are four famous personalities. Kamala Harris, everybody knows. Narendra Modi, he's the Prime Minister of India, current Prime Minister of India. Amitabh Bachchan, he is a renowned film actor, Indian Bollywood film actor. And Manmohan Singh, he was a former economist and Indian Prime Minister. Next slide, please. These are some famous personalities. And so Aishwarya Rai, this is how you'll pronounce her name, Aishwarya Rai, Shah Rukh Khan, Virat Kohli, Mukesh Ambani, Sachin Tendulkar, and this one everybody knows, I think so. Her name is Priyanka Chopra. Next slide, please. Okay, so I included this slide because, you know, pronunciation of names. So it is just not the name of a person, but once you know how to pronounce something, then you'll be able to pronounce the food menu items also. Once you know the sound, how it sounds. Tamara, you did good, even though it seemed tough, but you were excellent. Thank you. So I have included some names of some food items, and based on the sounds, so far whatever I have shared, I was hoping that you'll be able to pronounce these food menu items, such as, let's see, I'll look at the time as well. So the first one, everybody knows. If you don't know, then please try today, because this is one of the items which you will find in most of the Indian restaurants menu. Okay, I can see Katie having the mouth-watering gesture. Okay, so what's the first one? Anybody? I can say, Katie, you can try because you said yum.
I wasn't sure if I could take my unmute myself and still show the screen. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me go back. Okay. Let's see. Chicken, is it chicken tikka masala?
Okay, so chicken, and then the second, because there are two Ks, right? So you put emphasis on that K. So it's called chicken tikka. This is how you say it.
Yeah.
Tikka.
Okay.
There are two Ks, right? So chicken tikka masala.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to do the second one? Okay, Meera.
Is it matar paneer?
Perfect. Matar paneer. Yes, because now you know the sound, right? A is as a. So matar paneer. Yes. Third one. Come on, let's do it one by one.
Okay, let's do it. Aloo sabji.
Aloo sabzi. That's correct.
Pakoda.
Pakoda. That's correct. Pakoda.
Paranta.
Awesome. Parantha. Thank you, Rosa. Yes. How will you say this one? Number 6.
Is it? I'm not so sure about the U. I think it makes a oo sound. Maybe it's doom biryani.
That's confusing, right? It's called dum.
Ah, okay.
So
Dum biryani.
dum biryani. And I wanted to tell you this because a lot of places you'll find A letter or U letter, and it is pronounced as dum. Dum biryani.
Okay.
Next one is okay, yeah.
Is it chana batura?
Chana bhatura. That's correct. Chana bhatura. Yes. Next one.
Nimbu pani.
Perfect. Nimbu pani. Nimbu pani means lime juice. Okay. Nimbu pani. Yes, like a lemonade. And the last one is, let's see, who's the last one? Catherine, do you want to try?
I can give it a try.
Okay.
I'm not so sure about the first word. But is it idli dosa?
Perfect. Idli dosa. That's correct. Okay. So thank you so much for participating. And I think it becomes interesting when we have participants trying it out. And I know it's any language the first time it is difficult, and you will not get it for the first time. You have to go through the letters and the sounds again. So thank you for participating. Next slide, please. And this is Indian clothes or attire, and same thing. If you know how the sound works, then you'll be able to pronounce it correctly. Tamara, you were asking me about you, right? It's very confusing. So you can pronounce it as a plus u, both. So when you listen to a sound or some student's name, and when they say my name is Kumar, right? Kumar, then they might have Kumar like that. So kurta. First name is Salwar Kurta. Salwar Kurta is this attire. Salwar and then Kurta. Kurta is a top. This is sari. This is kurta and pajama. Pajama you will know because it's similar to English pajamas. And this one, the turban, is called pagdi. Pagdi. Pagdi means turban. Okay. Thank you. So I think I'm done from my side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
I have one. I don't know if it's you can help. But I was just curious if there are any like programs that I can learn more about Hindi language through the school. I know you're not with the school, but you teach, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I was just kind of curious, like what kind of setting that would be in to learn more about it.
Okay. So I teach at two high schools in Hearst, and generally my schedule is full. And UTD also offered one course during spring last November. In fall trimester, they offered one course. And for spring try also, they offered one course, but they didn't have enough students to enroll. So I'm not sure, So you can check with the Asian department and see if there are if they have minimum number of students, maybe 6 or 7. That's what they have told me. Then they could start a class. So check with them. And yes, Katie.
I was just going to tell Mira she might want to check with the Center for Asian Studies at UTD. That could probably be the best department to check with, or just let them know she's interested, you're interested, Mira, in studying Hindi, and that would be a good place to start at least. And then ISA, the Indian Students Association, also, if you're interested in learning more about Indian culture, there's a couple other Indian student organizations in general on campus. There's dance organizations for Indian students that you can learn a lot about, and some other Indian cultural organizations that you can check out with the Student Organization Center if you want to learn more about Indian culture.
Yes, they did offer a spring course, but since they didn't have enough students enrolled, they couldn't go ahead and offer that course. But if you have because now like Rosa is interested, and if somebody else, Mira is interested, and if you have a couple of more people who are interested, then they might consider offering it as a continuing ed course or credit course. I think for the students, they would be interested in a credit course rather than continuing ed, because that can suffice for an elective.
And also, Tamara just mentioned on the chat, the library has a wonderful resource called Mango Languages, in which you can explore which language you would like to choose. In this case, it looks like Hindi is offered, and it's a wonderful resource as long as you are faculty staff or student at UT Dallas. You may access that resource, just as a reference.
Yeah, and if you don't have any way of learning, then that's a good resource. There are a lot of programs which offers online language courses. But I think if you really want to learn a language, it's a good idea to have sessions which are interactive, because that's when you get to practice the language. And so all these programs are great. But if you have limited time and you really want to learn something, then I think it's a good idea to have an instructor with whom you can practice the language.
Cool, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our lovely presenter today? No, this has been a wonderful session. I have learned so much.
Thank you so much. I had my pleasure to present, and I'm glad that you had some participants who were so keen and interested in learning about how to pronounce Indian names. So thank you, and I'm hopeful that there will be some more activities, similar activities like this, where people can explore more about Indian culture and traditions and languages.
Well, I appreciate that you were able to present to us today, and I'm very glad for all of you who attended. So this has been a wonderful event. To all of you who attended, thank you so much for coming. All of you will be receiving an email for your attendance. All of you will receive an iWeek t-shirt as participants in our session today. So you'll be receiving an email from the IC Programs inbox of how to pick up your iWeek t-shirt. And a special shout out to Rosa and Mira, who were able to try to speak or to pronounce our Indian names. And I think there was one more person who tried to pronounce, was it?
Most of them tried, you know. I was really impressed, you know, that people took that challenge and they tried.
Yes, to those of you who tried to pronounce. I know Tamara was very gung-ho about it as well, and Leticia. So all of you who really tried, you guys were awesome. But I really do appreciate your participation. I know some of our iFriends were on today, and this is really great. So thank you so much for attending, and to our presenter, Vandana. I just learned how to pronounce all of it.
It's Vandana.
Vandana.
Vandana. Thank you.
See, and I've met with you several times, and you've pronounced this, and you're teaching me. So I'm learning this.
You'll get it. Vandana.
I'm pronouncing it like an American, and you're teaching me like an Indian to pronounce it. Yes, I will learn. But thank you so much. We appreciate it so much, and I do thank you so much. And it sounds like Rosa and Mira and everyone and Catherine enjoyed this event so much. So thank you for being able and willing to participate in this event today. You have made iWeek wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as a goodbye, namaste again. Goodbye from my heart to your heart. And have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Vandana. Vandana, yes.
Vandana.
Vandana, yes.
Yes. See, we all have got it now.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.